Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to this is the Correcticise Total Body Renovation, and I am Dale Walker. Today, you can see I am dressed in my fitness clothes because I am going to be demonstrating. I got my camera already. I am going to be demonstrating what the total body renovation looks like and what the master classes are, and how that kind of relates to the Correcticise for Life program. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get to my presentation, which is going to be mostly interactive today. So you're going to actually experience what it's like to be involved with the Total Body Renovation program and a masterclass with me. And so we're going to go ahead and kind of take it from there. So again, I am Dale Walker. I am a licensed physical therapist with degrees in physical therapy, fitness, cardiac rehab, and exercise science. And you can look up more information about myself and my programs at fixyouonline.com. There's the resource Fix You Online TV. If you're not a subscriber, please become one. So you'll see when I go live and what I have going on, and you'll get announcements on that. And plus you can take a look at that channel because it's a great resource for many free information that will provide you with tools and tips to return the power of healing back into your hands and make you an active participant in your healthcare. And this is actually mini training 13, not 12, but the Facebook group is Fix You Online. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly go through this. You know, why do we need a total body renovation? Okay. I think it's obvious by these pictures, right? If we've not done maintenance on our bodies are probably either feeling or looking like this car versus this car. But it's never too late to start renovating, right? Even an old car can be renovated. An old house can be renovated. You are never beyond repair is the important thing to remember. And, you know, here's another reason, because of, you know, stress in life in general, maybe a past injury, past trauma, or just regular getting older. But I hope that through these trainings, you've kind of understood that it's not about getting older. It's just possibly about disuse and also not addressing the systems that need most addressing as we get older. Because how we do fitness in our teens and our 20s and even our 30s is going to be very different than our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. There are different needs, there are different priorities, and the body is just different. So again, another reason I created Correcticise for Life. If you don't renovate your body, you'll go ahead and wind up feeling fatigue, misalignment, and experiencing kind of this type of body at the end of your day. And who wants to go ahead and do more work on that kind of body that's feeling that way? You're just drained of energy, and you don't feel like doing anything. So again, that is what is oftentimes going on. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and show you again the Correcticise for Life membership page, because that's where you're going to have access. And I'm going to go ahead and get my screen is shared, is to go ahead and look under the total body renovation. We're going to start with the toes because we need to go ahead. The toe is going to affect the foot is going to affect the rest of the body. So that is why we're starting at the very tip of our toes. And here you have all of your videos that you can watch, plus a downloadable PDF. When I'm finished with the masterclass, it will be included in this folder. Now, to access the membership, to access the masterclass, you're going to want to click on the event schedule, okay? And then join the Zoom meeting. And that's at August 19th. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is, it's as simple as that. And so go ahead and be there. If you can't be there, go ahead and send me a question if you have one, and I'll answer it during the masterclass time. The video of the tape of the taping of the live masterclass will also go on the toes section, and it is my intention to have it available to you within 24 hours. So that is how you are going to access the masterclass and what you need to do in the meantime. So now I'm going to take you through something that I've never done with another group before online. And I'm going to take you through one of the release techniques that I do called rotational release. Now, rotational release is something that I just kind of started teaching within the last 6 months. And it addresses restrictions in movement in the rotational plane of our activity. So again, we move forward, backward, side, side, and in rotation. And that's the same at every one of our joints, has to have motion in each one of those areas. So the comprehensive core release technique is awesome for the 4 planes, the forward, back, and side to side that I just talked about, but not rotation. So that's why I started to incorporate rotational release, and it looks very much like the comprehensive core release technique with rotation. You do not need any special equipment for this. You're just going to use your toes and your fingers. That's all you're going to need. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move my camera so I can set up and show you on my toes kind of what we do in a masterclass and how to go ahead and prepare. And you're going to learn a new technique for release. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and demonstrate it on our skeleton. So on the skeleton, right, we're going to be working from here to the tips of the toes. In the 4 outside toes, there are 3 joints. Okay. On the big toe, there are only 2. So what we're going to do for this training is we're going to figure out which toe needs work. Okay. And I know which toe I'm going to work on. I'm going to be working on my second toe. But for many of you, it might be your first toe. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to test which toe that you should work on. And then I will take you through both of them because I'm going to work on my second toe, but many of you are going to want to work on your big toe. So I'm going to go ahead and work on my big toe first and then my second toe so that you can go ahead and appreciate rotational release and we can do it together. All right, so let me just go ahead and get set up. Okay, this looks pretty good. And I want to make sure that everyone can see my foot and my toes. And good, if you could put in the chat box if you don't, otherwise I will assume that you can. When we're looking at the toes, right, we want to look at flexibility or mobility. And obviously if we have pain, there's an issue there. Great. So what you want to do is you want to look at your flexibility in your toes. So wherever you want to have motion, okay? And again, we have 4 different areas of motion, right? Downward, okay? And then upward, and then outward, inward, and rotation. So some of us will be out of all of those. The one that I'm most limited in is actually rotation inward toward my second toe. And so that is the direction that I am going to work. Okay? Now, rotational release is going to be done. Remember, we want to work on each joint individually. So there are two joints in the big toe, and they are separated by the line in the big toe. So if you cannot see it, it is right there. Okay, you see the line in my big toe? That's the first joint. So I am going to go ahead and stabilize right underneath my joint. Now, what does it mean to stabilize? It basically means to pinch, like you're in a vise. So this is not particularly comfortable for me. So I'm going to do this hand. And then what I'll do is I'm going to take above and grasp onto the toe and rotate it in the direction that I want to move, which is inward. And when I'm in that position, I am going to feel for tenderness or restriction of movement. And I found it. And then you would just follow along with, you could either just hold it there or go around your imaginary clock, find the direction it's most restricted, just like the comprehensive core. And then you're going to move. And to move, you can bend and straighten your knee, or just bend it, or move side to side, or go and take your knee in a circular pattern, both directions. And then when you're done with that spot, you're going to feel across the connective tissue for the next spot. And now that I've found it, I'll do that same thing. I'm going to go around my imaginary clock, find the direction, and then I'm going to go ahead and bend and straighten, go side to side, go around in a circle, and you can do one of these or any of these motions. It does not matter. Okay, and then I'll move to my next spot, which could be on the nail. And for me, most of my restrictions were underneath the foot or underneath the toe. And I found my last one. It's underneath. I go around my imaginary clock, find my direction, and again, I'll move. Now we get into a little bit more elaborate training in the program, but that is the gist of that movement. So I can already go ahead and retest this rotation. So if I take my toe and I go ahead and move it inward, I have certainly more movement than I did beforehand. But there's another whole joint to address. So where the ball of the foot is, and if you have a bunion, it's going to be where the bunion is prominent. That is the end of the big toe bone, okay? The first bone of the big toe. So again, we want to stabilize right underneath it. And then we'll start right at that line, which divides the bottom joint of the big toe with the top joint of the big toe. And again, I'm going to move into internal rotation, and I'll find my restriction, and then I will go ahead and move. I can go around in a circle. I can go side to side, and I will go ahead and address that particular joint. So now I will move down further, and again, rotate first, find my restriction, go around my imaginary clock, find the direction, and move. Forward and back, side to side, around in my circle, either direction. And I will continue down until I get to this area right here. I'm going to continue rotating, looking for tender spots. When I find them, I go around my imaginary clock, I find the direction most tender, and then I'll move my lower leg around. So that is rotational release. So now let's look at my rotation. That is a significant improvement from what I was able to do before. So that is rotational release of the big toe. Now, when we're going to move on to, I'm going to move on to my second toe. And I'm going to do this on my other foot because I have a issue on my other foot. Pointing is not beautiful. And also see how my second toe is actually, it's on a angle toward my first toe. And this actually does affect my quality of life when I am wearing boots, ski boots, or rollerblading. So my issue is movement this way, right? And so I'm going to hold that toe into the alignment that I want to go in. And just like the big toe, the places where each joint ends is going to be where the wrinkles are. So for this toe, I'm just going to move. It's right there and right there. When I bend, you'll see. Okay, that's one joint, that's the second, the third's at the ball of the foot. So want to make sure that, yep, we got it good. So that's my bending. And again, it's not particularly pretty. And what I want to do is I will now hold the toe into the alignment that I want it to be. And then I will grasp it at the first joint and rotate it either direction. Now I can rotate very well this way. I cannot rotate particularly well this way. So I'm going to pick this direction. I'm going to find my tender spot. It's right where my thumb is. I'm going to go around my imaginary clock, and I'll go ahead and move my lower leg, bending and straightening side to side around my imaginary clock. And then I'll go ahead and test other areas as I'm holding that joint. And I'm finding some more areas of tenderness underneath now. Find my direction of most tenderness, and then I will go ahead and move. And as I said, we get into a little bit more detail in the actual class. Okay, so let's just take a look at it now. You can retest yours. Look at that improvement in my bend. I'm certainly able to go further. Next, I'm going to now take my finger and go to the second joint. And I'm going to use my other hand here. I'm going to hold it in the alignment that I want it to go. And now I will go from the first joint to the second joint, pinching and rotating in the inward direction toward the first toe or the outward. Once again, inward is restricted. I find my imaginary spot and I go ahead and bend and move accordingly, round in a circle. And then I will go ahead and move on to the next location. And this is a very tiny joint, guys. So there it is. Now, if you have a hammer toe, this is going to be key right here. Find your direction, go ahead and move. When I say your direction, it is the direction that is most painful. And 10 seconds is really all you need. And once you've addressed that whole area, again, what you can do is move, good, better movement, and go ahead and flex, better flexion. And then we'll move on to the last joint, which is at the ball of the foot to that hammer toe joint, okay, or that middle joint in the toe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stabilize at my ball of the foot. I'm going to hold it. I am going to go ahead and test my movement. And that's inward rotation. And this is outward rotation. And actually, both of those move pretty well. So if I want to correct the alignment of this toe, I probably don't need rotational release here, but I do need the comprehensive core to try to get this area of the bone back into a more inside position toward the big toe so that this will become a better aligned toe. But we're still doing rotational release, so I'm going to hold it here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it down into the bending, which didn't work very well. And then I will rotate in and rotate out. Inward is still my nemesis, or the one that feels most tender. Find my tender spot, go around my imaginary clock, and then I'll move. And then I'll go ahead and continue moving along that segment in the toes. And again, down, finding my spot and moving. And guys, when you do this, you'll probably notice that it is pretty darn tender. And the reason being is because these connective tissues have never been worked on before, probably. Certainly not as specifically as we're doing it right now. And again, finding our spot and moving. And now I'll look at my bending. So I'm going to bring it back. And that is significantly improved from when I could do it at the beginning. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and come back. And answer any questions that you might have about rotational release. And if there are no questions here, I will go ahead and check it out on YouTube. Make sure that there's nothing going on there. Any questions, please post them in the box. Okay, there's no questions there. So what I want to do then is go ahead and talk about the masterclass that's coming up in tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. We are starting and we will do activities like we are doing here that I just demonstrated to you. And it'll be an hour-long class with question and answer, and we will go through every joint in our toes so that you'll all improve the range of motion in your toes, which is imperative for balance, as well as important for diagnoses such as Morton's neuroma, metatarsalgia, even plantar fasciitis, certainly bunions or hammer toes or tailor bunions, and then important for things such as squatting, going up on your tiptoes, going downstairs, and of course, normal walking. So we'll talk about all of that tomorrow. So what I will lastly show you is I will put in the chat box how to register for the class, the link to do so. And I will go ahead and lastly show you what that checkout page looks like and and how you can register. All of your questions should be answered in this area about the toe masterclass and what you'll receive and what you get by joining, and then some reviews and any questions that you might have should be on here. Again, this is free for 14 days. You will not be billed. And it is my way of, celebrating August and celebrating the Correcticise for Life program, because this is really kind of my dream child. And it is a program that I've wanted to bring to the world for a long time. So I'm going to offer a special announcement to anyone who has already signed up. And there are a few of you. So those of you who have signed up already will get an email from me to do this, but I will offer you a 10-minute free consultation on how to use the program and how to use the Correcticise method. And that is going to be for the next 5 people who register. So go ahead and register. If you're in the next 5 people that register, it's a bonus for being live. You will go ahead and be contacted for a free consultation with me. And like I said, those of you who have registered already, you will receive that notification as well, so that you can really gear the program to fit your needs. For those of you who do not get that special, what you're going to receive then tomorrow, what I'm going to do is kind of give a general outline on how to use the Correcticise program for yourself and for your particular goals, because there are a lot of different sections. And this is what I'm going to recommend for general fitness and improving your fitness level. So I'm going to go over questions like how long do I need to dedicate per day? Or what's the minimum that I need to do? Or, what do I need to focus on? What's really important, given my age, given my situation, and those kinds of things. So that's what I'm going to cover tomorrow. And again, I'll be live at 5, and then I will be live at 7:30. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you at both times, ideally, or any time between now and the masterclass. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me via the venues that I know. And like I said, sign up. So if you're one of the first 5 people who signs up, you will get a free 10-minute consultation with me. So looking forward to seeing you all on the program tomorrow. And if there are no other questions, I'm just going to go one more time on YouTube, see if there are any questions. And if there are not, then I will go ahead and bid you a good night. So good night, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow.